Welcome to my official review of the first round of the NFL draft. I am so excited to get into this one. It was one of the best drafts ever. Maybe the best draft I have ever watched. It was super entertaining. Lots of amazing picks. A lot to unfold. So we're jumping right into it. We've got a tier list today. We're giving grades to each NFL team, starting with the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals selected Walter Nolan. I thought this was a fantastic pick. Maybe people would consider it a reach. A lot of people had him sliding to the 20s, but I'm glad the Cardinals went ahead and got Walter Nolan, a fantastic defensive tackle. And I thought this was the second best defensive tackle in the class. So I think the Cardinals absolutely rocked it. I don't know if it's an A hit, but I'd give it a B hit. The Atlanta Falcons, we'll talk about the Atlanta Falcons later. The Baltimore Ravens. So they got Malachi Starks. That was a fantastic pick as well for the Baltimore Ravens. A huge value pick. Got maybe the best player in the entire draft when it comes to secondary players. So the Baltimore Ravens, Malachi Starks, I'm putting that in A. Fantastic pull for them. The Buffalo Bills. They got Maxwell, right? Let me see my notes here. Buffalo, they got Maxwell Hairston. I'm not too familiar with his game, so it's not fair for me to really evaluate him. Based on the comments I saw a lot of people saying that like he has upside. Bills fans seem to be happy. They seem to be more happy than taking Will Johnson, so I will put the Bills in B tier to be fair. The Carolina Panthers, we got Tetero McMillan. I wanted Tet to go to the Cowboys or Jets because I thought that would be his best fit, being the wide receiver 2 to someone that already has a 1. So I'm interested to see how Tet does with the Panthers. I have hope for him to be a good wide receiver. I think that was a good pick, good value pick. They got the best player available at pick number 8. So can't be mad about that. They got the best true wide receiver in the class possibly. So I'll put that at B. I don't think it's quite an A tier pick because I'm not that high on Tet, but can't be mad at that decision. The Chicago Bears. This is the first one where we're going to get a little negative. This pick made 0 sense to me. I saw a mock where Tyler Warren went to the Bears, and I was like, that is ridiculous. Why would they take a tight end? I don't think it's a position of need. And when you don't go position of need, you go best player available. And Colston Loveland was not the 10th best player in the draft. There is no shot that he is the 10th best player in the draft. There were other players that were available. If you're going to go best player in the draft, the Bears should have just gone with Jalon Walker or James Pierce Jr. The Bears, I think this is a D tier move. Colston Loveland could be very good. I could be completely wrong. He could be a good tight end, but you already have a good tight end. What do you need 2 for? That's just one of those ones where it's like, it's different when you get 2 good edge rushers because you can use 2 good edge rushers. You can use 2 good tight ends. It's just like, oh goodness. I mean, we saw it with Gronk and Hernandez, but I don't see the vision. And if you're gonna go tight end, why did you not go Tyler Warren? The Cincinnati Bengals. So they got Shamar Stewart. I thought this was a good pick, but Bengals fans not very happy with this one. I don't think they're familiar with his game. I personally think Mike Green's a better edge rusher, though, and they took Shamar Stewart kind of high. They probably could have traded down and still gotten him. So with that being said, I think the Bengals in C tier after Shamar Stewart is a fair grade. I think Shamar Stewart has a ton of potential, but C tier seems to be fair according to Bengals fans. The Cleveland Browns had a fantastic draft. So first of all, they fleeced the Jacksonville Jaguars, got a future first-round pick and a bunch of other things, and then this draft second-round pick. So now the Browns have the opportunity. They got Mason Graham, possibly the best, if not second best defender. We'll say second best defender in the draft. And they now can get Shador still at the top of the second, or they could get Will Johnson, they could get Nick Emmanuel, they could get Jalen Noel, they could get Jaden Higgins. They have a ton of players that they can get, but they're going to end up with 3 first-round pick talent players. So with that being said, the Browns are our first A-plus drafters. The Dallas Cowboys. So the Dallas Cowboys, yeah, this was my least favorite pick of the draft. I didn't think Tyler Booker was a first-round talent. I would have never taken him in the first round. I'm not saying he's a bad player at all. Not saying that. And I know it's a position of need for the Cowboys, but they should have gone. Well, I get why they didn't go receiver or running back because they'll be there in the second round. But will they? The Cowboys aren't picking incredibly high. They kind of are, but I just don't see it. I think that they should have taken Emeka from Ohio State. I won't say it's an F because Tyler Booker could be good. I don't think anybody deserves an F, but Dallas in D tier seems fair. The Denver Broncos at pick number 20 got if Malachi Starks isn't the best secondary player in the draft, it's Jahdae Barron, and the Broncos got him at pick number 20. That absolutely is an A-plus hit to me. I was saying that the Broncos should take a cornerback about a month ago, have been pounding the table to say, Broncos, please draft a cornerback, whether it's Will Johnson or Jahdae Barron. They needed another corner outside of Pat Surtain to solidify their defense as the best in the NFL, and I think they just did that. Now you got Riley Moss and McMillan, both also guys that can play. Riley Moss can play on the outside. Jahdae Barron can play in the nickel. They can switch and flop around. I love this pick for the Broncos. Denver fans should be very excited, looking forward to a 12-win season. The Detroit Lions, they got Tykel Williams, I believe, if that's how you pronounce his name. Lions fans didn't seem to be happy, but with where you're picking at pick number 30, can't expect too much, but for the same reasons as the Bengals, I believe Mike Green to be better than Tykel Williams. But with that being said, I believe this is a C-tier pick. But the Lions tend to draft Pro Bowlers, so I will probably be wrong about this one. They evaluate talent incredibly well, so Lions fans, you should be excited for Williams. They know what they're doing over there in Detroit when they draft players. The Green Bay Packers, they got Matthew Golden. Absolutely a steal of the draft, possibly a Tyreek Hill 2.0. Obviously not as fast as Tyreek Hill, but Matthew Golden, they deserve an A for that one. He fell. As soon as Aaron Rodgers has been gone, the Packers have focused so much on wide receiver, and I think they finally have hit. So hopefully Matthew Golden is a good pick for them. The Houston Texans traded out of the first round, and the New York Giants traded in. The Texans got pretty good value. I wouldn't say, when you look at the other trades, the other teams got first round picks, but that doesn't mean the Texans didn't absolutely smash it. The player they want will probably be available at the top of the second round. So with that being said, Texans deserve an A. The Indianapolis Colts at pick number 14 got Tyler Warren. Absolutely fabulous pick for the Colts. I didn't think the Dolphins would pass on him, so I'm proud of the Colts for being able to get Tyler Warren. I think this is an A pick. They got possibly the best tight end of the draft. They needed a tight end. Made perfect sense. Filled a need and did it with maybe one of the best players in the draft. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, this one was awesome. They traded up to pick number 2 to get the guy that they wanted. Did they give up a lot? Yes. Do I believe the Browns fleeced them? Yes. With that being said, that doesn't make this not an A-plus move for the Jacksonville Jaguars, because it's not an A-plus move. We'll give it an A. We'll give it an A. Travis Hunter, to me, was the best player in the draft, if not Abdul Carter, and the Jaguars got him. That's all that matters. The Jaguars very well could be a playoff team next season, so that first-round pick might not be much. So if you're saying you're giving up next year's 20th pick in the draft, 19th pick in the draft for Travis Hunter, you tell me you wouldn't do that? I would do that. You would do that too. Let's be real. Now, if it's a top 5 pick, you're giving up 2 top 6 picks for Travis Hunter. That's where maybe it gets a little dicey. He's not a quarterback, but he could be generational. So we'll see what happens there. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to be our third A-plus of the draft. They got Josh Simmons, who before the injury that he had at Ohio State would have been a top 10 pick, probably the second tackle taken off the board, and they got him at 32. They got him at 32. He's going to be all-pro. It is what it is. Everyone knows it's coming. He's going to be an all-pro with the Chiefs, and it is what it is. The Las Vegas Raiders got Ashton Jeanty at pick number 6. Jeanty, they did what they were supposed to, and they didn't have to move up to do it. I thought they were maybe going to try to trade up to 4, so Jaguars couldn't take Ashton Jeanty, but then the Jaguars moved up, so and they got Travis Hunter. So Ashton Jeanty, they stayed put. This is an A-tier pick. I think that is completely valid. The Los Angeles Chargers got Omarion Hampton. I am not very high on Omarion Hampton. I did not think he was a first-round talent. I get why people like him. I don't think he has great vision. Missed out on a lot of cutback potential at UNC, and I think his O-line created a lot of holes for him. But I think the Chargers can do that for him as well. That offensive line definitely can create holes. We saw it with J.K. Dobbins. Definitely can help create his explosiveness. I see a little bit of J.K. Dobbins in Omarion Hampton, but with that being said, I think B tier, maybe C. I'm going C. I'm a little bit lower on Omarion Hampton than others. The Los Angeles Rams got a first-round pick. I don't know how they got a first-round pick from this trade with the Falcons. Absolutely wild to me. The Rams did everything right there. I think they wanted Jackson Dart, and as soon as the Giants traded up to take him, there was like, okay, well, our guy's gone, so we'll trade out of this one. Rams absolutely smashed it. They got a first-round pick for next year. I think they can package those picks potentially. They'll have 2 next year and try to move up if they want Arch Manning to replace Matthew Stafford. The Rams, A+. The Miami Dolphins, they got Kenneth Grant from Michigan. Very good defensive tackle. I'd say the third best defensive tackle in the class. I would have selected Walter Nolan over him if you're going to go defensive tackle. I think they should have gone offensive line, so I am a bit surprised there. So with that being said, I thought there were other valuable players there. I don't hate Kenneth Grant, definitely a good player, but this is where I thought Josh Simmons could have went, and he fell to 32. So with that being said, Dolphins will be a C. The Minnesota Vikings, they got, let's see here, Donovan Jackson. I'm not super familiar with Donovan Jackson's game. Didn't see Vikings fans freaking out. I put them in the same tier as the Bills because I don't really know. A little bit of a question mark. Y'all have to let me know if Donovan Jackson is elite. The Patriots at number 4 got Will Campbell, potentially the best offensive lineman in the class. After seeing his interview where he's crying, saying he's going to die for Drake May, fight for Drake May, he's got to be an A pick. These teams that were staying put and got the players that they wanted, how can they not be an A tier pick? Will Campbell, before his arms were measured, was considered one of the best tackles in recent history. So with that being said, the Patriots absolutely smashed it. The New Orleans Saints got Kelvin Banks Jr. I think that this was a reach at pick number 9, but they needed a tackle. And as you saw, the offensive linemen were flying off the board, so they had to get the guy that they wanted. So I don't hate it for them. With that being said, I got to put it in C tier. I think Kelvin Banks is definitely a project. The New York Giants, they got Abdul Carter, which automatically gives them an A. Then they traded up to get Jackson Dart, and I'm not a huge Jackson Dart guy, I'm not going to lie. I don't think I can put the Giants on the same tier, but they got Abdul Carter, so automatically they'll get put in A. They're teetering, though, with A and B because I don't love the Jackson Dart pick. They gave up quite a bit. Not that much, actually. To get a quarterback, you didn't have to give up a first-round pick. Fantastic. You didn't have to trade a first for Jackson Dart. So I love that for them, but I personally wouldn't have done it. But I'm not a GM, so it's fair. This is just my opinion. I can't be wrong. The New York Jets, they got Armin Membu. I thought that was a solid pick. I would have gone Tent McMillan if I was the Jets, but I get why you're going offensive line. You have one of the best young cores for an offensive line, and that is the way to win football. We've seen it with the Eagles. They did it. Cowboys have built that kind of thing before. The Chiefs have built that before. So the Jets, pretty good with that pick. Armin Membu, definitely better than all the picks in C tier. So I think B is fair for the Jets. The Philadelphia Eagles got Jahad Campbell at pick number 31. They got the linebacker that a lot of teams would have wanted. I thought the Lions were maybe going to go there, but the Eagles, again, getting another steal. Howie Roseman always wins the draft. We're putting it that at A tier. A lot of positivity from this draft, as you can see. I don't think there were very many misses, and even the people in D tier are still going to be good football players. I just didn't understand the pick. As far as the Pittsburgh Steelers go, they went with Derek Harmon, if I'm remembering correctly. I didn't think that was really a position in need for them. I thought that they could have done other things. I wouldn't have hated Will Johnson here or even Trayvon Henderson. So with that being said, C tier fits the category for all the other teams. The San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers, man, they went ahead and got Mykel Williams, fantastic edge rusher. Not mad about it at all. Again, I think Mike Green's a better edge rusher, but Mykel Williams is a fantastic prospect, so I think B tier is fair. I don't know if edge is exactly the position they needed, but I think they just went with who they believed was the best player available, so kudos to the 49ers. The Seattle Seahawks. They went ahead and got Gray Zabel. That is an awesome offensive lineman. He can play all 5 positions. I love Gray Zabel. That's an A-tier pick for the Seattle Seahawks. Great value for where they were picking. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers got Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State. A lot of Buccaneers fans hating on this pick. I don't know why you're upset. I know there's other positions in need, but my goodness, how are teams going to guard those 3 wide receivers? Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Emeka. He's going to learn so much from those 2. I think the Buccaneers deserve an A+ for that. I love them picking him. Maybe Jahdae Barron should have been the pick, but I'm not mad about Egbuka whatsoever. That was a fantastic pick. Maybe one of the most shocking picks of the draft, not including trades. I couldn't believe it, but I love it for them. The Tennessee Titans, they got Cam Ward. They fit the categories, the Patriots and the Raiders. They got the player they wanted, and I think A tier is completely fair. The Washington Commanders, who did they get? They got Josh Conerly Jr. from Oregon. I thought this was a great pick, a great value pick at pick number 29, a tackle that I probably would say is better than Kelvin Banks right now. I don't know if he'll be better future-wise, but he definitely has a pretty low ceiling. He has a low ceiling, but he has a high floor. So that was a great pick for the Commanders. I'll put that into B tier. And last but not least, the Atlanta Falcons. So they traded, this is the most controversial pick of the entire draft. They got Jalon Walker, one of the best defensive players in the draft. I wanted the Patriots to consider him at number 4. That's how high I have faith in Jalon Walker. But then they trade back into the first round with the Rams to get James Pierce Jr. They traded a first and some other things to get him. It's a lot to ask for, but they fixed their edge rushing issue in one draft, just like that. Just like that, the Falcons defense could be elite next season. Could be elite, depending on how the rest of this draft goes. The Falcons, to me, absolutely smashed it, are a playoff contender next season, so that first round pick is not going to be crazy next year. I think the Falcons deserve an A+ for their both of their selections. They got 2 of the top 3 defensive players in the entire draft. So with that being said, these are my 2025 first round mock draft grades. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, enjoy rounds 2 and 3, y'all. Oh, I need to hit stop.